strong power, so we call such a person Hercules. And also, in Tibetan language, the word Ziba is also used for those people with strong power. And now we are for the afternoon session of this Hercules tournament. Now let's have a look at the activities. On both sides, there are 5 barrels. The barrel is like 1.2 meters high. And on the floor, next to these 5 barrels, this is the shoe-shaped silver ingot. They have certain weights ranging from below 100 kilograms to about at most 150 kilograms. They have to hold such an ingot up. This morning we have another competition. Now those competitors are warming themselves up. Those contenders are very tall, and their weight usually average above 100 kilograms. The biggest one is about 180 kilograms and 2.5 meters tall. So they're very tall and stout people. This morning, some contenders haven't been used to those tools and instruments. Now, maybe we could familiarize ourselves with those ones. This is the tool for the morning session. The contenders will have to carry them up. So the weight will have to be added gradually to about 760 kilograms. If they can carry the heaviest, then they will win. This morning, the best performer carried such a weight for 3 rounds. So that's very awesome. This morning, we heard a lot of shouts and applause for such performance. Now, the competitors are still getting familiar with this site. We have Mr. Long, one of the organizers for this event. Could you please introduce to us more? Hello, I used to be a Hercules. My name is Long Wu. Like he said, he used to be a Hercules, and now he is like a promoter of this event. Could you introduce the rules for the session? This afternoon, we will have 3 games, and on my left side, you could see this is the game for the contenders to carry the ingots up. And the barrels is about 1.2 meters high, and the contenders will have to lift those ingots ranging from 110 kilograms to 150 kilograms up to the barrels. We have a certain time frame. It's about 175 seconds, and after that time period, the game is off. And within that time period, if someone could finish all of those ingots lifting up, then they will win. And if they all manage it, we will see which one took the least time. So, why did you design the ingot for this game? Ingot is a symbol of wealth and good fortune. These ingots are made of the pig iron, and they have a very good meaning. So, holding those ingots, will it feel the same like the previous tools? Like the round balls? It's different. The ingots will have some place for them to hold on to, but the round balls that we used to use do not have anything to attach themselves to, because it's very smooth on the outside. And also, the ingot has a higher density compared to stone within smaller volume, so the gravity is very difficult to be controlled. Have you been part of such a game? I used to, but in previous games, the ingots are bigger. If the ingots are lighter, then errors and mistakes may happen. And if the ingots fall off onto the ground, then you have to repeat it again. You have to put the ingot steadily on top of the barrel. And I heard that the two contenders will compete against each other simultaneously. Yes. We will divide them into two groups, one competing on the left side and one on the right side. According to international norms, if their competition number is a single number, then they will compete on the left side. I will tell them clearly you will use those tools and instruments. And for the even numbers, they will compete on the opposite. But sadly speaking, for those even numbers, they are standing actually directly under the sunlight, so maybe that's more difficult. I also noticed that those contenders have different heights. Is this game more beneficial for the taller ones? Comparatively, the taller guys will have a competitive edge. Euclinos is about 2 meters, and the shortest one is Yao Zhuang. They're just below 1.7 meters, so they have a lot of difference. For the contenders above 1.9 meters, it's very easy for them to lift those ingots up as long as they could stand up. But for the shorter ones, even if they did their best, maybe the tallest they can lift it up is just at the same level of their head. It's after all a competition. And also, contenders will have to start from the furthest ingot. If someone completes, they will come to the other side and encourage their opponents. When you were a contender, which game did you prefer? It actually depends, depending on the environment. In Diebu County, it's about 2,300 meters above sea level, so it's hotter. This noon, we saw that several contenders had a sickness. A Russian contender even had a nose blood because of the oxygen deficit. And also it's very dry. If we use too much force, the blood will shoot up. And when we stand up, suddenly the blood shoots to our nose, and so they will bleed. In the afternoon, as I said, there will be 3 games. The first one is holding the ingots. The second one is called the energy stairs. It's like climbing ladders. Yes, similarly, just they have to carry some weights. Here, those are some weights ranging from 180 kilograms to 220 kilograms. Every stair is about 40 centimeters. If they carry 180 kilograms, they will have to climb 3 stairs altogether. So still, 2 contenders will compete simultaneously. Yes, I think it's more thrilling. The third game is about turning the tires like this. This is not the usual tires. They are actually made of 2 tires together for one. It's very heavy. It's about 400 kilograms. We slice the usual tire and put it into another one, so making this final one heavier. Within 75 seconds, they have to turn the tire for 6 times. So actually, this Hercules game is not just about power. Power is just the basis. In the final analysis, we look at the speed. So with the same power, the most skilled one may have such an edge. The game is about to begin very soon. Thank you for your introduction, Mr. Liu. We will come to you later. Mr. Li Dequan is our champion for heavy lifting. It's a clear weather today, but for such a competition, the sunny day may not be a good news because it means also the high temperature, the dry weather. So this will influence the situation of those athletes. Let's feel those tires. In our daily lives, we see tires a lot, like those in a car or on a bike. But for such a big tire, we seldom could see it. I can carry it and have a try. I just joked that even if I couldn't be a Hercules, I could still do something like carrying 20 kilograms. I just quit. It's beyond my power to move it. And for those games, skill is required. For those untrained ones, you shouldn't really go into those games. You could easily hurt your waist. They are preparing for the games now. 我们可以看到呢，这个举办这场比赛的迭部县呢，其实虽然说它海拔比较高，但是它的植被呢非常的好，就在这个体育场1墙之外的这个。Diebu County is very high above sea level, but the location is good because there are forests in the surrounding. Now those competitors are entering this venue. Now let's look at those contenders. Number 3 is Wang Bing, coming from Wuwei, Gansu Province. So it's a local contender. This one, also from Gansu, is about 1.93 meters tall and 120 kilograms. From Shijiazhuang, 1.75 centimeters and 102 kilograms. This one from Russia, Nazarov Anderly, and he's about 188 kilograms and also 184 centimeters tall. From Ireland, 195 centimeters. From Ukraine, 琼斯来自苏格兰，身高1.97米，体重140公斤。对，下午换了衣服，早上换了一个。1.97 meters and 140 kilograms. He just changed clothes. From Gansu, 195 centimeters and 150 kilograms. They're all very big. From Kazakhstan, 186 centimeters and 140 kilograms. 这位来自湖南的53岁的选手，身高1.72米，体重115公斤。This contestant comes from Hunan. He's already 53 years old, and he's about 110 kilograms. Mr. Zhang Mingming, 183 centimeters and 130 kilograms. From Kyrgyzstan, 192 centimeters and 165 kilograms. Mr. Chen Yanqiang from China, 180 centimeters. The weight is 108 kilograms. From Shijiazhuang, 182 centimeters. And number 17 from Belarus, 150 kilograms and 195 centimeters. Number 18 from China, Shijiazhuang City. Mr. Zhao Jingfeng, 182 centimeters and 118 kilograms from the US. I don't have the details about this contestant yet, but he looks very big and strong. From UK, 193 centimeters and 130 kilograms. Number 21 from the Iceland, the biggest one, the tallest one, 2.05 meters and 165 centimeters tall. That's about 320 grams. Alexandra, 184 centimeters and 118 kilograms. He wears a beard. This is the champion from China, Mr. Li Dequan, 187 centimeters and 115 kilograms in weight. Now we are seeing that some children in the audience are cheering up. This one is from Poland, 140 kilograms and 186 centimeters tall. A kid just now carried something. And also our contenders are clapping hands with those audience. We have attracted a lot of locals in Diebu County. Even though they're bathing in the sunlight, but they're still quite enthusiastic. This morning we had a wonderful show. That's maybe why they are anxious to see more. People from China and abroad have given very excellent performance. In the middle of the venue, there are also a black object. It's used before games. If you're an NBA fan, you may be impressed by James' movement, that is to flash those powder up in the air. This is also the powder. The powder is mainly used to add some friction on the surface, so it's easier to be controlled.
央视网友，我们现在正在向您直播2019年迭部国际大力士中国公开赛季第4届安多地区辣子口泽巴。
Now we are giving you the 2019 International Hercules China and Ziba Invitational Tournament. Now this is the game of holding those ingots.
参赛选手呢，必须要将这个1.2米高的桶前。
To repeat the rules, our contenders must lift those ingots up, ranging from 110 to 150 kilograms, and then put those ingots steadily on top of those barrels. They must go one after another with the 5 ingots altogether.
那我们的嘉宾呢，龙武先生呢，他也是我们的之前参加中国大力士比赛的一个非常有经验的运动员。
Mr. Long used to be one Hercules, and he's a very experienced athlete.
如果完成同等的元宝，以用时短者为优胜。所以希望大家一是还是要求踊跃参与跟上午一样。还有一个，不要吝惜你们的掌声，我要听到你们的掌声和呐喊声在哪里？让我听一下。
在早上的比赛中呢，除了大力士们的表演之外，还热情地邀请了周边热情的观众，然后来参与到这样的比赛中。当然也有一个本地的一位热情观众也非常的厉害，像这个刚刚我们看到的720斤的这个
spectators were invited
特别
to
重的这个
be
呢，也是转动了
involved.
将近30度。好，我们来看比赛。
好，现在比赛开始。
And they were awesome. They could turn those heavy tires.
没有把手。
Now let's enjoy the
我们看
game.
到呢，在我们的单号选手这边呢，已经1号选手已经将
There is no handle on the two sides of the ingot.
我们来近距离的看一下。
The number one contestant has already put the ingot on top the barrel.
由于身体特别
Now
的
let's
重，所以
zoom
说
in
现在
to have a
有
closer
2
look.
个工作人
The
员将
iron
这个
is very heavy, so 2 staff will have to stabilize the barrel.
看到这个2号选手呢，目前遇到了一点困难。然而我们的1号选手已经开始努力第3个130。
Number 2 contestant seemed to face some difficulty. Number 1 contestant is already working on the third one, about 130 kilograms.
看到因为好，我们看到1号选手已经将元宝放在了第3个桶上，可以开始
Number 1
好了，他估计已经放弃了第4个努力。
has completed the third barrel.
其实虽然说呢，我们放到了5个，但是
I guess he gives up the fourth
只
one.
有1号呢已经
So
才放了3
we
个
could
2号
see that even though we placed 5 ingots, but in the first
可
round,
以看到的往下
number 1
推的时候
contestant completed only 3 and number 2 contestant accomplished only 1. So you could see the difficulty.
好了，我们
A mattress was put on the floor just in case that when the ingot falls down, it will
开始做准备。
cause some damage to the ground. The second group will begin their show.
为什么会在我们所在的甘南藏族自治州的迭部县举办这样的一个比赛呢？因为迭部被称为中国大力士之乡，而且
Why are we holding this game in Diebu County?
泽巴，也就是大力士呢是非常
I think it's because Diebu is known as the homeland of Hercules, and also the so-called Ziba is a word to show honor for those Hercules. So in this locality, they have a very good basis for such a game.
我们看到这个选手在比赛之前呢，将所有的元宝推倒在地。
Before the game begins, this athlete
这也是他的一个
turned all of those ingots aside.
准备的呢是他的教练，也是中国
This may be one of his tactics.
摆的位置
And also,
看到呢也非常的讲究
his trainer used to be a very famous Chinese Hercules. And also for the place of those ingots, they do have some tactic. Maybe by turning them aside on the ground, they can save some energy for those athletes.
这是2位本土选手在甘肃参加比赛，一位来自兰州，一位来自甘肃武都。
In this pair, those 2 contestants are the local people, both from Gansu.
到了开始向
The first ingot was easily put on top, and the second one finished.
这位来自
Now 130 kilograms done.
好，140公斤已经
This
成功
one
了
is from Lanzhou,
开始150公斤
and
了。他的
he's
教练在旁边
already finished the 140 kilograms. Now 150 kilograms. His
还
trainer
是成功了，
is
还是成
saying,
功了，也是非常的激动，
keep up, keep up.
报向了
He just did it, and he's very excited. He hugged the judge, and also the spectators are also welcoming him warmly. Number 3 contestant completed 130 kilograms, but he fell to the 140 kilograms. But still, he runs towards those spectators and he interacted with them. Number 5 and number 6 athletes are about to compete. The game is going on very quickly. How heavy are those ingots? 2 staff will have to do their best to put them down. Number 5 and number 6 are about to kick off. I just got the updates about those contestants. Number 5 is called Shilei. Number 6 is from Russia, called Nazarov Enderly. The contender from Russia has competed this morning. And also the sequence of his attendance in the afternoon is based on his performance in the morning. So the better he performed in the morning, the later he will be put in the afternoon session. Now those two have started their game. These two are quite close. Nazarov have completed the third one. Now the fourth one done. Finally 150 kilograms. Seems hard, that's why he shouts. But he did it. And on the other side, Mr. Shilei completed the 120 kilograms. Now he's working on the third one. He's working very hard. He gave up. If they really can't do it, I think they should give up. Otherwise, they may be hurt. Like we said, it's about 2,300 meters above sea level in Diebu County. So the difficulty comes from the lack of oxygen. This will impact the performance as well. Now it's the turn of number 7 and number 8. Number 7 is from Ireland. He is 128.2 kilograms. On the other side, number 8 contestant Among all the others, is quite slim. He's from Ukraine. He's 98.2 kilograms heavy, and he is one of the very few contenders below 100 kilograms. I guess they have their own habits of putting those ingots before the games as long as they feel comfortable with them. And you could see they all will wear some powder. Then they will have better control power. Number 7 from Ireland, Shampur. He's warming up. And the one from Ukraine, Nikita, has already worn some powder. Seems easy for the first one. The second one managed. Now the third one succeeded. He's very quick. I guess he's the quickest among all we have seen. The last one, done. Number 8 contestant has given up the game. He just finished the 110 kilograms ingot. The contestant just said that they are quite tired.
现在马上要开始比赛的呢是9号的。
The next pair will be number 9 and number 10. Number 9 comes from Scotland, 138 kilograms. Number 10 is from China, Han Jianping. And Mr. Han is 119.3 kilograms. The other contestants are taking photos or videos when they are not on.
我来重复一下，下一场要参加比赛的呢是来自苏格兰的达里恩·琼斯，以及10号来自中国的韩建平。
To repeat, number 9 is from Scotland and number 10 from China, Mr. Han Jianping. They are ready. Jones from Scotland is wearing a very cute hat. Those who compete the last could actually solicit the suggestions from the previous athletes, and then they can improve their results. Now a song is ringing. The theme of the song is about believing
一
yourself.
下午要举行参加3场比赛呢，不同的比赛其实对于运动员的这种身体，对于他的力量要求还是比较高。
For the athletes to be part of 3 games is really a test of their strength and their stamina.
在早上的比赛中呢，主要是在考察参赛选手的耐力，而下午的元宝赛呢，主要在考虑
The morning games are mainly
考察运动
a
员的
test of those athletes' perseverance, but in the afternoon
身
games,
高比较高
they are more about the athletes' power of making explosive performance.
稍微有一些优势，但是呢，这也是一些优势。
Like we said, the taller athletes will have some competitive edge.
好了，来自苏格兰的琼斯以及来自中国的韩建平已经要开始比赛了。看到来的，韩建平
Jones from Scotland
110公
and
斤，
Mr. Han Jianping from
向第
China
二个120
begins.
公斤的元宝进发。
Mr. Han finishes the first one.
130公斤。
Now he's working on the second one.
速度呢也差不多好。
Now the third
韩
one.
明已经领先了。
On the other side, Jones is about the same speed. Han Jinling is a little bit faster. Now he's working on the fourth one. It's a little bit difficult. And his expression seems to be in struggle. Now the 2 contestants are at the same time working on the 5th one, but Jones finishes first. So he wins. And Mr. Han is still working on the final one. In this game, we have 2 indicators. The first one is whether you complete, and the second one is about the time it takes. Mr. Long Wu, the moderator, used to be a Hercules, so he will give a lot of recommendations to those athletes. I lost the control in my hand when I am coming to the last one.
体重114公斤。
We have another pair from Kazakhstan, 114 kilograms, and Luo Handong from China, 116.9 kilograms.
好的，我们的比赛还在继续。由于这会儿剩下的队员呢还比较多，我们在
The game is still on.
其实同时举办了
We still have some contenders yet to come up.
看到的中国大力士中国
And actually, 2 games are simultaneously on. One is about the International Hercules game China, and on the other end of this venue is about the Ziba Invitational Tournament. We will come to the latter.
将现在这个赛场的赛事呢，我们让他们继续比揉。等会儿我们来看一下最后的一些冠军争夺赛啊。我们先到场地的另一端。
We will come back to the Hercules China later on to see who wins. Now let's come to the other end of this venue about the Ziba Invitational Tournament. It's quite of a local flavor.
观众们呢都是非常的这个热情啊，我们想办法得出去一下。
Spectators are quite passionate.
我们找了一个稍微。 我们通过人群挤出去，不好意思，借过一下。可以看到呢，这个
I am elbowing my way out through those spectators. But still, there are a lot more flooding in.
这儿呢是 举行比赛的呢是咱们迭部县的体育场，可以看到篮球场、羽毛球场，包括这边的一些网球场、足球场和田径跑道都非常的齐全。
This is the local Diebu playground with a lot of venues for basketball, football, tennis, and so on. So you could see what great efforts our government has done to improve the sports activities in the localities. Even in such a remote county like Diebu, they have such great facilities for sports.
顶着12点的大太阳在打篮球。好了，这边人山人海，人山人海，可以看到这是什么呢？
And also, in the playground for basketball, there is no empty backboard. Everyone is already occupied with some players. So now, we are at the site for Ziba Invitational Tournament. Now let's get our way inside.
嘉宾呢这会儿因为工作原因，因为他还要协调各种赛事的比赛，还在赶过来的过程中，我们来看一下这场比赛是什么呢？就是我们讲到的。
The guests are on their way. So let's have a tour by ourselves. This is actually lifting some belts.
甘南藏族自治州迭部县为您带来2019年国际大力士
In Gannan, Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture, in Diebu County, we are also giving you the 2019 Ziba Invitational Tournament. So now we are standing at one site in Diebu County. This is about lifting the heavy loads.
我们看到了第一个，它的比赛规则是要将这个皮带从身前举起，然后
According to the rules, they will have to lift such a heavy bag up from the front and then throw them down from the back.
两次试举的机会就跟咱们举重的国际规则是有些相似。那我们的裁判员看到他
And he has
举白旗呢，就是这个皮带是
two opportunities to try.
合规的。
And if the judge holds up the white flag, then it means the result will be qualified. For the Ziba contestants, most of them are from Gansu, Sichuan, Qinghai. So they're like the enthusiasts of sports.
举皮带的这个比赛时间呢是6分钟，必须要将几个不同
And
重
this
量
game
的皮带呢依
lasts
次
6
举
minutes.
过。我们可以看到呢，这个赛场上
So
目
they
前
will
是
have to finish all of those heavy loads
重量
one
呢
by
从
one.
轻到重依
And
次
they
是
are
80
different
千克、
weights.
90千克、
There are
100千
6
克、
of those
115
bags
千克、
altogether,
125千克、135千克。
ranging
我们目
from
前看到呢，
80
这是正
kilograms
在努力的是
to
第4个皮带，也就是115
135
千克的
kilograms.
重量。
Now the athlete is working on the fourth bag,
好的，
so it's about 115 kilograms heavy.
115千克已经挑战成功了。由于这个
Succeeded.
单场比赛的时间呢是6分钟，所以说还允许在比赛的过程中，对于已经
Since the
紧张
game
的肌肉呢进
is
行一些
gonna
放
last
松
for 6 minutes, so during the game, the athlete has some time to actually work on their
不
muscles.
管是参加
to
国际大
relax
力士
their
赛
muscles.
还是泽巴邀请赛的参赛队员都在腰上会扎一个腰
Whether
带，这样
it's
子
the Hercules game or Ziba tournament, all the athletes will wear such a belt on their waist. It's actually a protection of their waist muscle.
部
This is Mr. Ren. I am from Diebu Culture Sports Bureau. Why are we designing such a game of holding heavy bags? This is quite a popular game. All the Tibetans really like this tradition. In the grassland, such a bag represents a good fortune. And this bag is made from the cow skin. The locals used to use those bags to store their grains. Now the present athlete is going to challenge the last one, about 135 kilograms. It's about 270 grams. That's almost over 5 bags of wheat. Those bags used to be used for storage. People just carry those bags of grains back home. So actually, this game is like a daily routine for the locals when they are carrying their grains from the field to their home. It's quite a lovely show of the locals' daily life. Will there be some other similar games held by the civilians? This game is quite traditional because it comes from people's daily lives and it's quite an entertainment. And also those games don't have high requirement of the venue. They're quite simple. And unlike the professional athletes, the civilians could just sign up as long as they can entertain themselves. And then gradually we will make up the rules. Now the athlete is challenging 135 kilograms. I see that they have their own strategy. They will have to readjust their breath. And also, when they are lifting them up, they will firstly put the bag on their knee first to have some time to regain the power. Of course, they have 2 opportunities to challenge themselves. If they failed the first time, they can take some rest and prepare for the second round. If they can succeed in the second round, then they will pass the game. But just now, the athlete failed the first opportunity. So it's quite similar to carrying the weights. It's like dividing this one movement into 2 stages. I see that the staff members are readjusting the location of those bags. How did you score them? It depends on the heaviest bag you carry. And if it's the same bag for 2 contestants, then the contestant with a lighter weight will win. The game lasts for 6 minutes. So if I finish at 1.5 minutes or at 2 minutes, it doesn't matter. Yes, you have 6 minutes in total. You could take some short breaks before the time is off. I see that some athletes come to the sides to relax themselves. The second bag weighs about 90 kilograms. So according to the requirement, those bags will have to fall down onto the ground from their back instead of from their side. Otherwise, they will fail. They also wear the belts in their waists. I think it's actually a protection of their muscle in the waist. Same tactic. Firstly, stabilize the bag on their lap or their knee for some short time, and then they regain their breath and throw them from the bag. The previous athlete could finish this movement very quickly, but this one will stop in between. So different tactics for different people. Gansu, Qinghai, and Sichuan provinces all send their contenders here. But basically, I think their ethnicity is about Tibetan. Actually, half of them are Tibetans. We have other ethnicities like Mongolians from Qinghai province. But they're all from the herding provinces. The contender is challenging 115 kilograms. The judge hesitated for a bit, but still lift up the white flag. It's quite a tiresome game. You will have to keep using your energy and your stamina. Will there be heavier bags in the tournament? Yes. For example, the tires game is heavier than 135 kilograms. Among all the 4 games, the one about tire is the biggest challenge. And also, it's a game that we introduced from the Hercules game. In 2017 Hercules game, they have a game actually borrowed from us. It's about carrying the woods. So every year, while we're designing our games, those 2 games will learn from each other. In Diebu County, wood is a very famous local material. Two minutes left. This athlete is gasping, and the trainer is helping him to relax the muscle. Now he's challenging 125 kilograms. Today, if all the athletes could manage all of those bags, maybe next year in the game, we will try to add more weights. So every year, the rules of those games will depend on the previous games. This athlete fails the 125 kilograms, but still, he has a high spirit. He didn't give up in the first place. That's the spirit of sports, about being faster and being perseverant. How many athletes do we have? 159. From Gansu, Qinghai, and Sichuan province. Tianzhu, Songnan are the autonomous county. Gansu is Tibetan, and Sunan is Uyghur ethnicity's homeland. But still, those ethnicities have some similarities in their living standard and habits. This athlete doesn't kneel down. Keeping standing and holding those heavy loads, it really consumes energy. So maybe it requires some skills. Most of those athletes will choose to have a stop. For those skillful and experienced ones, will take the 6 minutes to readjust themselves, particularly their breath. The trainers will give some encouragement. Now let's see what other games do we have in this invitational tournament. What about this one? The spectators have different age groups, old ladies or small children. I heard that there will be a game of tug of war called 压架 in Chinese. Is it Tibetan language? Yes. In Chinese, in Tibetan, it sounds like 压架, but it's actually just a tug of war, so it's still a test of power. The venue is empty. I think maybe the game is already over. The first round of tug of war game is already over. What is the rule about the tug of war? Two athletes hold one rope together, and the rope is tied around their neck, and then they tug the rope back against the back. And they have to crawl on the floor when they are pulling and pushing. Are those the instruments used for the game? It's the red rope. This is the middle line. So it's really a tug-of-war game. The result will depend on where is the middle line. They put this rope around their neck like this. So their four limbs will have to use strength at the same time. How about we to have a go? Let's experience the tug of war. Mr. Ren, let's do it. So do I have to kneel down? The judge will step on the middle line for fairness, and I will crawl on the floor and then start pulling. Is it a fair game? Did I win fairly? So I just won. The floor is quite soft. Actually, when they are really playing, there is no such a mattress. It's gonna be on the grassland. I have some background information. It's called the elephant's tug of war. In my hometown, we have similar game. We call it the crawling cow. It's quite similar to the tug of war on the ground. They're changing their shoes. Are those shoes specially designed for the tug of war? Actually, for wrestling. What is the good about those shoes? Better friction? Where are you from? From Sichuan. He's quite cool. Now it's cloudy. Without the direct sunlight, the athletes will have better condition. If they are directly under the sunlight, maybe they will be influenced. I think the contenders are ready for the game. From the looks of the two athletes, they are quite typical of Tibetans. The judge is already in place. The judge will have to check the bottom of their sneakers. We require that there shouldn't be any other additional equipment under the sneakers. They must be flat. They're really like tigers on the floor. It's over. This athlete is from the locality, the winner. So it's 3 games altogether to decide who wins. He's a herdman. He's just wearing the usual shoes.
啊，先消耗对方的体力啊。
You have to be steady. And then the opponent will consume their energy, and then you could make some move to win.
那是冠军种子选手，怪不得实力非常的。
This winner used to be number 1 in the whole Prefecture's tug-of-war game. So that's why he won just now. He's very experienced and he's very thin.
好了，我们看到接下来的2位选手呢，也在做这个比赛前的准备。咱们所有的这个比赛其实都要看这个。
The next pair will be ready.
也可以不要啊。对，就是专业。像刚才我们体验的时候，因为都不是职业。
Are all of them wearing the belts in their waist? You could choose to give them up.
发力也，像刚才我在体验的时候，我是感觉要一直持续发力，但是像人家是就很有技巧。
When I was playing the game with you, I feel like I will have to use my energy all the time, but it's not the same thing for those athletes.
就是没有看着那么的焦灼啊。
The previous pair actually has some difference in strength, so that's why the game is over very quickly.
对方的选手就没有动，没有，哎，已经。 比赛是非常的，
不但有对抗，还有交流。
对，非常，这个气氛非常好。比的时候大家你死我活。
They're even communicating with each other. When they're competing, they are opponents, but when it's over, they're still smiling at each other.
来看到呢，这个比赛是快就结束了。好了，我们除了正在进行的可能大枪拔河，也就是我们说的压架。
Now it's over.
基本上都有一个直观印象。还有一个比赛是吧？
So this is about the elephant's tug of war. I heard that there is a third game.
阿林峰，这儿有一场我们预谷族选手的比赛，有一场我们来看一下。
There is another game that I want to have a look.
好了，两边选手也正在检录。这会儿下午这个气温其实很适合于这种体育比赛。
我们蝶步的这个气候特别好。
The temperature right now is really favorable for the sports games. In Diebu County, the temperature at night will be low, but in the daytime it's very hot.
我看了一下天气预报，白天
But if you go to the indoor, it's quite cool.
晚上其实
Or if you have a shelter, it's cool.
对于这两天这个生活在高温下的这个
So you have big temperature difference between daytime and nighttime. Maybe you will have to put on a quilt at night when you sleep. So I guess this place is really good to spend your summer days.
好，这会儿我们可以看到两边正在。哎，我可以注意到的这位蓝方的这位选手呢，他的手上是缠着绷带啊。
The one wearing blue wears some bandages on his fingers.
好的，第一局蓝方确实胜了。可以看到他们的这个是有很明显这种
The blue one wins. It's really a contest between those two. So for every pair, the game will be on for at most 2 minutes. If the game is quite fierce, actually it consumes a lot of energy. What is the longest game for the tug of war? Approaching 2 minutes. Are they using their energy all the time in the 2 minutes? I think so. If the two opponents are quite a tie from the perspectives of their physical strength, their skills, tactics, then maybe the game will be in stagnation. So finally, who wins will usually have the best mentality. The game is for 2 minutes at most. If one player wants to call for a recess and the other agrees, it's okay. They can rest for some time and continue the game afterwards. This rope is specially designed for the game. In our daily lives, our civilians will use a very simple rope if they want to play the game. And you don't need to have a very special venue for that game. The athletes cannot hear who is shouting. So the opponent has changed the tactic. The man wearing blue seems to be in pain. Will the friction hurt the hands when they're putting their hands onto the ground? It's very hot. So it's 1-1 in the previous 2 games, so they need a 3 to see who wins. Such small talk may impact the athletes. They may be giving recommendations, but they may also disturbing them. For such a fierce game, both athletes will have to consume themselves. They have to protect their muscles. Most of those athletes are not professionals. They are just the common people. They are voted to be the ones with the strongest strength, and also they love those games, then they attend. Some of them attend such games for several years. They're wearing bandages. I tend to believe that for such games held for civilians, it's not gonna be very fierce. But now I prove myself wrong. The locals can entertain themselves in their daily lives. When they're feeling tired, they play those games to have a rest. And people really love to play those games. Among the Tibetans, those games are very popular because when the Tibetans are children, they will play those games. Maybe in the springtime, when there is not much agricultural work, they will go for an outing and play those games together. Now let's interview this athlete, the one wearing the bandages on the fingers. The winner is also out of breath. Can I interview you? What's your name? 来李文. Why are you wearing bandages? Because when I was playing the first round, my hands on the floor was burned by the heat. The floor has been shot by the sunlight for so long, so it's very hot. Have you done your best? Actually, I think if my fingers are not hurt, I may win. Do you have other games like this? In those ethnic places, we all have those games. Okay, so I hope you could get a better result the next time. So that's all about the tug of war. And there is another one. It's about wrestling. Tibetan wrestling. When we are young, particularly boys, we will wrestle with each other. Wrestling doesn't require some special place. It's just an entertainment. And we don't require some instruments. You just need the belts on the waists, and that's all. And the rule is very simple. You just have to put the other down. And also, you cannot use your feet. You can only move your hands. You cannot tip the other with your feet. You can hold your opponent's waist and throw them down, but you can never use your feet to trip them. And also the game is 2 out of 3. And also according to the rules, only your feet can be on the ground. If your knee touches the ground, then you lose. A lot of spectators. Very diversified spectators, from children to the 70-year-olds.
对，在草原上的时候就
他更能体会到这个。
我们看到这个比赛呢是在一个。
They have a feeling for those games because it's commonly seen when they're young, living on the grassland. It's like a football playground. Maybe it's softer on the ground.
好了，我们这会儿来看到里面来看一下正在进行的藏式摔跤的比赛。
Now let's get inside to enjoy the wrestling, the Tibetan wrestling.
比赛开始了，
就是开始的动作一定是
The game is on.
对方的腰带系腰，
抓住对方的系腰，不能用脚勾，不能用脚绊，
一脚就算犯规了。
You can see they are holding each other's waists.
就失败了。
You cannot trip each other. Otherwise, they are against the rules. Awesome.
来，根据咱们在这边，像这个比赛是一场定胜负还是？
还是3局2胜。
This way, please.
我们来像草原上一样。
As I said, it's 2 out of 3. Let's sit here to enjoy the show. How many wrestlers do we have? Over 40.
这个草坪上比赛也更像是在这个运动最启动开源的时候啊。
Precisely 46.
其实这个项目也就是在这个草地上，
因为它要是要场地啊。
比赛。
Usually, wrestling will take place on the grassland. After all, the athletes may fall down on the ground.
像这个比赛的话，它其实技术性要比刚才我说大体马和还要。
Does this wrestling requires more skills than the tug of war? I think both of them do. But the wrestling is more of a combat because they have body contact. But for the tug of war, they are connected with a rope. I know that the contestants of wrestling will be divided according to their weights. Do you have that? Yes, we divide them into 2 groups, one above 80 kilograms and one below. Today, the game is for those above 80 kilograms. So, does that mean the heavier they are, the more competitive they will be? It depends. If I'm heavier, then the opponent can only carry me with their hands. So that explains why I think the heavier the contestant is, the more competitive he will be. Just now they are 1-1. Now it's the final game for the pair. This one really looks like the herdman. Many locals are very big in size. Is it because of the diet? I think it's because of the plateau. They eat a lot of meat.